family were based in Blackpool and this took place in London. So in those days, getting from Blackpool to London was an expedition. So to do it secretly was quite something. They did one and then they cancelled it. I think it was supposed to be the first one. And apparently the press got hold of it 2 weeks before it was due to start, and they cancelled it. I think the idea was that they weren't ever going to do it then because of that. It had spoilt the whole thing. He was there in London to do a coaching day with some young players, which was his life after football, was coaching youngsters. And that's why we have this foundation now that carries on his work, which is his legacy. But he was there coaching, training, in his tracksuit, and suddenly, in the middle of this, in comes Eamonn Andrews with the big red book, and we're all behind the scenes. I mean, it was quite an effort to get everybody separated. I think he was, how to put it, I think he was gobsmacked, if I can use that word. Stunned him into silence. In those days, as he always was, he was very modest and he hated talking about himself. And he was really, I think he was shocked. And I can see him now sitting there. He used to sit there with his arms folded, his legs there, and just taking it in, and not saying very much really. But I know from afterwards he was amazed. And he said, "Why me?" He always said, "Why me?" Yeah, I was quite nervous. I was still at school. You know, I think I must have been about 17. It was at a very strict school that made you stand up and talk. You had to give speeches in school, and I always remember that. And I was thinking the head teacher, you had to, and it was a terrifying experience. So I suppose that helped me. You know, I was still in ankle socks and school tie and school blazer. So I did wear a dress for the event, and I remember the headmistress of the school saying, "Why didn't you wear your school uniform like your brother?" I said, "Well, they told me I had to wear a dress." But we all had set words. Everybody who came on had a set of words to say behind the screen, and then they would say what they were going to ask you in front of the screen. Thinking of some of the players who came on, and it's a bit hazy now, but they were all giving him tributes, and they were all stressing what a great man he was and how humble he was. Oh, it was very big. It was like, what can I compare it with today? X Factor, or it was really one of the highlights of the television. Well, I remember there was always fan mail. He'd always got bags full of fan mail. I suppose it was, and I suspect that the press really went to town on it, because there was always a press at our home. He was trained by my grandfather. Jimmy Valance was the trainer at Stoke at the time, and through the trainer he met my mother, Betty Valance, and they got married, and that's why I'm here today. Well, without players like Stan and Tom Finney and all these great players in the past, it wouldn't be the football today. It wouldn't have the same following. They planted the seed, and they were as famous. My father was like David Beckham, you know, and that's without all the media that there is now. That's without television and films, and football was everybody's life. And the amazing thing was, in those days, there'd be the banter between the different teams, but not this tribal, the different teams, spectators would all sit together. but now they're separated. It's tribal, and because the players used to live locally. They used to get on the bus to go to the game. I know my Stan used to walk to the ground, meet his friends, and he always walked to the ground with lead in his boots, his shoes, so that when he got to the ground and put on his very light boots that he had made specially, that gave him the edge and the speed that he wanted. And some of the players would meet spectators on the bus, and they were the lads from the hometown, and because it's lost that now, the players don't live near, they live out. So there isn't the same camaraderie, is that the word? Probably, yeah. There wasn't the money, no, but I think Stan was on £20 a week. But we were well off in those days. I mean, he had a Rolls Royce and he had a racehorse. But he always said, today when he was alive, people have often asked him, don't you wish you were getting money like that? He says, no. He said, because I travelled the world for free and I have these friends all over the world, and I wouldn't be able to do that today because of the restrictions by the club. So he was content, very content, yeah. It was very nice to see all these people and bring memories back. Yeah. But he was a man of few words. And it's wonderful for me to see it, and I can see those part of that family, and quite a number have gone. In fact, on Stan's This Is Your Life, the only ones living who are on that, I think, are his brother, Ronnie, who's 90, my brother, and me. I think everybody else is gone, which is rather sad and a bit frightening, but it's very nice to be able to see them all. Yeah, my grandmother and my uncles and my grandfather, and yeah, really, really good, very memorable, very warm, very lovely.